Bob.
What?
Guess what? It's not a joke.
Who's there?
No.
Go on, tell me. What have we got?
Made it.
To what, Hollywood?
Well, we're getting there, but we've made it to episode 10.
Double figures.
Double figures. So,
cheers.
That's a...
Let's start this all again.
That was terrible, wasn't it?
We're out of practice.
We are.
We are out of practice. Why are we out of practice?
Because
Where have you been for the last chuffing week?
I've been
working.
I want to look nice for the podcast, and therefore, in order to look nice, I needed a tan. So this has all gone on the business.
Yeah, I know that. I saw it go on a credit card.
Went to Lanzarote for a week.
Was it good? Brilliant.
I'm caked in moisturiser.
Yeah?
Yeah,
brilliant.
to hide the
It's
peeling.
good to know. It was cold and wet here, miserable. I was at work. We didn't do the podcast, so we're behind on schedule now. We're probably losing listeners.
Yeah.
So, here we go. Should we start? Here we are on the next episode, and we've
Not just the next episode.
Yeah, I was just about to say it before you cut me off.
Oh, well, I wanted to get
Go
in
on,
there.
you do it then.
No, it's fine, you can do it. We're on episode 10 now, aren't we?
You fucking... Episode 10. Double digits. That's exciting, isn't it?
It is. To think we've spoken to each other for about 20 hours.
And we always said we'd do 10 and done.
Yeah, so this is it.
The finale.
Yeah. Enjoy that coffee, mate. We've added a bit of table decoration, haven't we?
We have. There you go. Let me move that so we can see what we've got.
For anyone watching this week, you'll see that we've got a bit of table decoration, hopefully to suggest what type of podcast this is.
Yeah, because we realised this last time, didn't we, that we didn't have anything.
It could just be for B&Q. It's just home furnishings.
Next at Home.
Yeah.
Next at Home. Maybe we could get them to sponsor us.
To be fair, this is from Next at Home. And that.
I'd back that in as well. I could tell that was, yeah.
Next. Come on.
Get on it.
Get your wallet out.
What are you doing?
But for anyone who's listening and not watching, we've got 3 cameras currently on the table, which are our cameras, aren't they? So we've got a Panasonic Lumix S1, a GH5, and Sony A7S III. Just to make it look like...
Looks a bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks better than just having coffee and water on the table. But also, it alludes to what we might talk about a little later in the podcast, won't it?
Yeah, we're going to try and not get too technical, because we did a fairly technical one last week.
Yeah.
Not last week, last month. But we're going to talk a little bit about kind of Sony and Panasonic and
There's been a lot of development recently, hasn't there? That we'll talk about whether...
Just stay tuned.
Oh, yeah, I'll not go...
Exciting.
Yeah. So how's... Oh,
go on,
oh,
I'll start.
Go on then.
So how was your holiday? I know I was taking piss, but go on.
No, it was good. It was nice. It was what I needed. I needed a little bit of time to just chill out completely, not check emails or anything like that. I may have checked it once or twice. Yeah.
She said you would read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was too easy.
Yeah.
Lathering up in Factor 15. Yeah.
Do you burn easy or do you tan?
Yeah.
Burn?
Yeah. I didn't used to have ginger. I used to be blonde, like proper blonde. I don't know where that went, but then I turned ginger. And turns out that I can burn and tan quite well. And then I think I've done all right. I'm like, oh, I'm red. Then I wake up the morning after, I have a shower, and then I'm just like a lizard. And I'm just peeling off, and then I just go back to normal. It's horrible.
You're looking good, though.
I'm looking fresh.
You don't look that tanned, I don't think.
I'm going to have to go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week.
Maybe we could do a It's Take Two on tour sometime. Go away.
That was maybe something we've talked about, isn't it? What have you been watching? Anything good?
You has just come out. You Part 2.
Yeah, we've watched Part 1.
It's different to the other series.
It is very different, isn't it?
But I like that because if it's constantly about Joe Goldberg gets fixated on a woman and he ends up getting, I actually like that it's a little bit different and that it's a different type of you that he's referring to. And I feel sorry for him. I'm not going to lie.
You feel sorry for the psycho killer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because he wasn't meant to find himself in a lot of the situations and he's trying to be a good guy, but he just can't help but not be a good guy. What have you watched?
I've been watching Ugly Betty, actually.
Ugly Betty?
Yeah, have you never seen Ugly Betty?
No, I'm not, actually.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's basically Devil Wears Prada, but it's spread out over like 50 hours because it's a TV show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's good.
What makes it good?
It's just easy to put on in the background and you can kind of like jump in and out of it.
Yeah.
You don't really need to stick with it and pay attention.
So for anyone who is joining us now, It's Take Two podcast, hosted by
Me.
yours truly. Is yours truly me or you when they say yours truly?
No, yours truly is you. As
That's
in the
really
person saying
confusing.
it. Yours truly. So if I'm saying it, that means me. So hosted by yours truly, Rob. I'm a writer-director based up in Leeds, working on indie films and commercial and stuff like that, basically. What about you? Yours truly.
My truly is
Your truly.
a freelance camera operator or DP, and now actor.
You are an actor now,
I am
yeah.
an actor. I can officially say I'm an actor, which thanks to you and all.
Well,
I
yeah.
can now add
Tell
that
us
to
what your debut performance was.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give too many spoilers away.
No, because you'll be under like NDAs and all of that sort of thing, won't you?
Probably. Well, I don't know. We need to send it over. But we did some pickups yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah. So Ollie's feature film, we've chatted about that when he was on episode. Double it, seven, I think.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
better.
I think it was. Yeah.
Good guess.
Yeah. So we're doing some pickups. We've just done a day yesterday. We've got a couple more days coming up in a few weeks, and one of the pickups was a little role for you.
I've been trying to get in for a while, haven't I? And then I was going to be another character, but I couldn't make the shoot. I could have been the teacher.
Yeah.
But then, we finally did a pickup day, just a very small crew, didn't we? But hopefully it adds to the film.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Which I guess that's the point in that it's never too late. Don't just round off filming as we've done. We need to make an edit out of this and we'll work around it if we're missing something. If there's opportunity for a pickup and it's easy enough to do and not too pricey to do, go for it. Because if it makes you film better, it might.
Yeah, I mean, it's standard procedure, isn't it, in Hollywood and everything, for a certain amount of pickups. I know when you hear reports of like some of the Marvel films reshooting for 8 weeks or something, that's a bit of a concern. But I think everyone does it for a certain amount of time.
What was the film that? Oh, it was the. Was it not Justice League? What was the DC with Jared Leto and the Joker? That got reshot because Deadpool was released, and they realised that the humour. Suicide Squad. They realised that the humour in Deadpool.
We're opening a can of worms here, Jord. We could do a few episodes on this. Suicide Squad, Justice League.
Well, they all got redone.
If we're getting into it now, we're going to have some Zack Snyder fanboys tweeting us.
I mean, we need more interaction.
For engagement in it,
Yeah.
Studio interference for Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Re-edited it, basically. David Ayer, the original director, has said, this time last year, this is when it came out, this time last year I had a great cut that everyone would have liked. Basically said that this cut isn't his, and it came out and it was shit. Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder, the director, stepped down because of a family tragedy, and they got Joss Whedon to take over, who kind of just done the Avengers and Avengers 2, and he reshot loads of it, and that's where the mustache gate comes from. So there's a load of shots in it that was reshot of Henry Cavill.
Oh, I know. I've heard about the
and they had
mustache.
to CGI the mustache out, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
So even small shoots like ours can utilise pickups, and we've done it on most of our stuff, I think.
I mean, yesterday was me, you, and Ollie, wasn't it? That's all it needed for that particular type of pickup. If it was a bigger scene, obviously you'd need to get more people involved. And
Yeah, it was literally like a few lines walking to camera. You did pretty good there, to be fair.
I did all right, didn't I?
I'll tell you what I did watch recently. In between Ugly Betty episodes.
What's that?
I'm going to keep mentioning Ugly Betty until you try it, by the way.
Okay, how will do?
Among the Living, our feature film that we did. I watched that. Well, I watched bits of it. I skipped through.
You've watched your film that you made?
Yeah, but
Well done.
dubbed in German.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been dubbed into German, yeah. Like, properly done it as well.
Like, different characters have got different people, or is it the same person?
Yeah,
like,
you know what dubbing is, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know if it was
doing
like a really, standard version of it.
No,
It's just
it's
one
good.
person doing impressions.
Well, yeah, it's pretty good. So I skipped through a bit of that. It's been released in Germany. So
That's wicked.
I think they've passed it on to a German distributor. They've dubbed it.
So for all the German listeners out there, I think we might. I looked on the analytics, yeah.
Maybe it's come from that.
You
Then
know who you are.
I bought one of the Blu-rays from Germany because it's got like
cool.
different artwork and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
How different is it?
It's pretty much just flipped.
Is it?
I'll show you a picture.
Nice.
Do you want me to play a little clip?
Go on then.
I
yeah.
recorded the kids. So Leon, who's in it, I think it was 12 at the time, 13. He sounds about 21.
Does he?
Wo kommst du her?
Aus westlicher Richtung.
Ich habe oben eine Hütte. Dort könnt ihr ein paar Tage bleiben.
Es ist schon sehr hart für uns.
Ja, aber Kinder sind so, oder? Die passen sich leichter an.
Ich will mich nicht verwandeln, okay?
Was soll das?
Du musst mich danach vergraben, ja?
That's cool, though, isn't it?
It is cool, yeah. So if anyone wants a German Blu-ray, you can get them ordered and you get them shipped off.
Where do you buy them from? Let's get the plug-in.
I can't remember where I bought it from.
Somewhere in Germany.
Yeah. I was just going to check it about this one.
Are you checking all the endless Instagram comments and messages?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Have we had any?
We had one, let me get it up.
Giggly.
Listener questions, we need a jingle. Da-da-da-da-da-da. From Callum. So in capitals, I won't shout out because it'll annoy him. You'll see why in a second. Can we swear or can we not swear? It's a quote,
fuck it, we'll swear.
Fuck off, Elliot's got a shout out before me. I'm done.
Elliot is Callum's brother, isn't he? And for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah. Also, your music is too loud in between cuts. Your voices are nice and mellow.
Thank you.
Then the music never fails to shit me up every time. That's in capitals.
Is that in the capitals?
Yeah,
right.
That's why I shouted that a bit. Don't even listen to your own podcast. I swear I'm your only listener.
Ooh.
Wrong. Colette listens every week.
Yeah. Hi, Mum.
None of my questions have been answered. Not a single shout out. Not even an invite to an episode.
We have given him a shout out.
We haven't, have we?
He asked a question, so we said his name in that question, so his name's got a shout out.
Not even an invite to an episode.
Well, he's just lost that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were saying before we started recording, we'll get Callum on the next episode, but he can.
Forgot about this though, didn't we?
Yeah, no,
I've
listened to
provided
that.
good feedback. No, we haven't. He's just complained that the audio's too loud.
Yeah.
I don't think a shout out would ever do. However, I'll offer an hour of free design work if you let Mitchell Creative sponsor your podcast. So apparently the audio's too loud. I did listen back to some podcasts.
Was it?
Fair point.
Is it a bit loud?
It's a bit loud.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that jingle and try and fix
Yeah,
it.
just see what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit loud to be. He's actually got quite a good point.
Yeah. There we go. All right, yeah. Sorry about that.
Nice.
Must have been too quiet. Shall we utilise these cameras that we've got on the table in front of us?
Yeah, so these are video cameras, are they? Or are these picture
Well,
cameras?
Technically, they're a hybrid camera, but yeah.
Instead of electric and gas.
Not nowadays, Christ. In the last, month or two, Panasonic's brought out the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II
Yeah.
and the S5 Mark II X, which looks nice.
Yeah, it's
black
like all
version.
black design.
Yeah,
it looks pretty
nice.
cool. Yes.
And they've added some new features that got us thinking about whether Panasonic's finally catching up with the likes of Canon and Sony in certain areas. They might already be leading in some aspects that people think, but such as the autofocus and things like that, they've now brought phase detecting, haven't they? Which got us thinking, are they finally catching up with cameras like the A7S Mark III, Canon R5, cameras like that? So we thought, whilst we both come from Panasonic, moved to full frame, and then we made the leap from then Panasonic to Sony.
What we thought was there's a nice clickbaity title there of
Yeah.
should Sony be worried?
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because I think for years people have said, Panasonic have probably got the best video features,
Yeah.
but they're way behind on the autofocus. And they have been. I know they've been like trying to improve it on every generation and with firmware and everything, but they've always been behind with that contrast DFD, and everyone else has gone phase detect pretty much.
Which has been the one thing really that Panasonic have always said, we listen to our consumers and audience. That's the one thing that they've almost just bypassed. When the demand's always been there for phase detect, but they've always said we're going to continue developing the route down contrast-based AF. Do you think they've given in to the pressure and realised that they're losing too many people away from Panasonic to other manufacturers? Or do you think actually we've done enough testing down the contrast route, it's never going to be as good as this, let's just implement that instead?
I think they probably knew it was never going to be as good early on. But I mean, if you look at rumour sites and stuff, there's loads of reasons people give for this and what they think was going on. Some people will say that because they were using at one point Sony sensors, that Sony wouldn't sell them the phase detect, the aspect of it. Who knows? Other people were saying, and Panasonic said, if you've got phase detect, because you've got to put stuff on the sensor, it can degrade your image quality, so that's why we don't want to do it.
Which, to be fair, image quality has always been something that we've loved from Panasonic, haven't we? There was that time where the image coming out of the Sony cameras, like even the FS7, but the A7 S2, everyone complained if you're shooting an S-Log, they weren't that great. Panasonic has always led that way. And even with the 4/3 with the GH5, it was still amazing image quality. Then when they brought the full frame cameras out, it looked incredible. It was 15 stops in the S1.
14 plus, I think.
14 plus. But like that's from a mirrorless camera at that point in 2020 was like, this is awesome. Whereas now Sony's, shaped up a bit. Their image quality straight out of camera's great.
And there's always differences in colours that people will always have preferences over, but I'm pretty happy with the colours and that coming out of Sony now.
Yeah.
You can definitely shoot stuff, especially in S-Cinetone, and it's kind of pretty good to go.
Well, we do this podcast in Cinetone, don't we?
Yeah,
so for anyone who's...
we don't really do much colour correction on it, do we?
Not really. A bit of contrast, just to make it look a bit
dark
moodier.
and bits, and we don't do any hue or anything like that, do we?
Don't think so.
In terms of image quality, though, like the S1H, I used that for a time on a few shoots, and I absolutely loved that. It was amazing. It just felt great. Colours, the roll off, everything just awesome image quality. I still want to be on board with Panasonic. At the moment, I've got an investment in MFT still, and the next kind of Panasonic that's got phase detect, that's probably going to be my next buy. Upgrading my little Olympus that I use for everyday stuff, because I want to be able to use that as a C cam. I've been using the GH6 that Johnny lent us, and that's pretty nice. But I think at this point you may as well wait for phase detect if you're going to buy an MFT camera. What are you working on at the moment? It's got your creative juices going.
Ooh.
Bad saying.
What, from the freelance side of things or just passion project?
Yeah, passion projects, yeah.
I've done a little bit more work on the police drama that I'm wanting to shoot. We've mentioned it in other episodes, haven't we? But it's been an ongoing thing and an ongoing idea that I want to actually make happen this year.
Yeah, so give us a bit of backstory for those who haven't heard about it.
So I came up with an idea when we first started working together, didn't we?
Yeah.
And held it off for far too long. So it would have been about 5.5 years when I came up with the idea. I've been holding it off for just various different reasons. If I've been too busy or, I've just kind of forgotten about it for periods of time. It's finally come back around and I'm doing more planning on the pre-production side of things. The script's pretty much good to go. Actors are on board. So now this week I've spent time looking at locations that would be suitable for it. And I think actually that I've had a little brainwave this week I always wanted, basically the short film's about a police force and there's a main scene that's in a police briefing room. I feel like I've spent too long in the past trying to find the perfect room that's like a police briefing room, whether that's a genuine room or an office that isn't being used or anything like that. Then I was in the car with a producer. Me and a friend went down to Brighton the other week and she's mentioned, have you thought about conference rooms in hotels? And I was like, bloody hell, yeah. Because we travel a bit with our work and the amount of times you're walking past a conference room in a hotel when you're stopping on a shoot, they're never in use. And I was like, actually, that could work a treat. So long story short, I've contacted various different hotels to see who would be free, who'd be happy for a small film crew to come in and use it for a day or two. So there's been a little bit more progression. So now the cogs are starting to turn again. Hopefully we can get it made.
It's easy to have ideas like that do just get pushed back and back, don't they? I think there's a load of different reasons why it happens. Why has it happened with this one, do you think?
For me, the script is an important one. Because it's about the police, and obviously a lot of people know about the police, other people don't know much about the police. I want it to be fact.
A lot of people know about the police.
Or know about
Everyone's heard about them, I'm sure.
Everyone, a lot of people know about the police, but in terms of how they actually speak or how they communicate to each other internally, I want to get that right. So things like redrafting the script, it's been on so many redrafts. That's the first one. The second one, the location, I want, because this is my first film that I'd direct, I'm too what's the word when you
particular?
say yeah, I've got such a particular idea in my head of what the room will look like or what the house will look like, and because I've not found that yet, I've been holding that off rather than, I don't want to say lowering my expectation, but compromising or looking at an alternative way of seeing how that scene can play out.
Yeah, because it's an easy trap to get into where you think, I can't use that location because I imagined having the window on the left side.
Yeah.
Whereas that location's got the window on the right side.
Yeah.
Whereas I think what people need to get into the habit of, and I need to do the same, is working out what the point of the scene is and what the point of the film is, and then what the point of the actions and the blocking and what the point of that window being on the left-hand side is.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you realise, well, actually the whole point of the scene is it's not affected by that window. We can go with a different location completely.
Yeah. We're not at that stage yet where we can hire a studio out, get an art director and set builders to make it look exactly like you want in your head that these bigger productions would have. It'd be great if we got to that stage. But at this stage, you have to, compromise and just work with what you've got. What about yourself?
So we're currently in post-production on Ollie's film. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of tweaking away on the rough cut of that, getting it towards picture lock.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Good, just checking.
Bored.
Currently working towards draft 2 of the next film we're doing, shooting in November. Mm-hmm. So it's just collating people's feedback and kind of working out what we want to take forward and bringing some new ideas into it, expanding it where we need to, trying to get the structure right, things like that, really.
Yeah. And how have you done a redraft yet then, or not?
No, I've got a lot of feedback. I've kind of done the synopsis, so I just need to put that into the next draft.
Do you get a good feeling about when you've written a first draft? Because the first draft is still early stages, isn't it, of a film that's a feature length. Are you excited about how, the quality of this first draft and what it could eventually become, whether that's the redraft or when we actually make it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're shooting in November, and so the script will be changing up until then, basically. Like on the last feature we did, it was changing on the day of the shoot. So I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we're like, that's the finished script. Let's print it and never change anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes in the edit, doesn't it? You cut lines out and move stuff around. But I think it feels pretty good.
Is there a reason why you're shooting in November?
I quite like kind of fall light. That sounds so pretentious, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
But, in summer, so we shot the last one kind of June, July, August time-ish. And you get the sunlight and it's very high. And I don't know, just that kind of low October, November sun. It looks really nice. It's almost like you get a longer golden hour to shoot with.
Yeah.
If you're shooting internal night scenes and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about flagging as much. You can start shooting them earlier on.
So in terms of your film and how many daytime and nighttime scenes there are, like what's the balance of it looking like?
It's probably 50-50, I would say. There's still quite a bit of daytime stuff.
Yeah, but that makes sense, I guess, November time, because it won't get dark till 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've still got a decent day, but then if you want to do night times and not have to do day for night, then you can shoot in the evening.
But partly it was also because we needed a good amount of lead time to prep it. So we were planning this kind of mid last year. I remember thinking it's like 15 months until we shoot. And I was thinking, oh God, that's so long away. Maybe we should do it this year in 3 months' time.
And now it's
8
March.
Months. Yeah.
So 8 months. The script probably won't be done until summer.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah. So the Lumix S1, in a way, is similar to the A7 IV, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of its specs, where it maxes out on its specs and things like that, it's got the 4K 60 crop. I'm looking at selling my S1. So if anyone, I've been trying for months, help me out. Because it's not been selling, and now I've paid my tax bill. But because of that, it's still up on, eBay and things like that. But I'm then thinking, well, if I sold it, would I just get an A7 IV? So then I'm all Sony, which is great, because then I can, I've got less lenses, because at the moment I've got a load of different lenses. But then is it worth me getting rid of that if I'm just going to swap it for a very similar camera? Yes, it's a slightly different image quality and colour science, but personally I know enough about grading to make that look like the camera, my A7 and FX6 footage once they're colour graded. Is it worth the hassle? I don't know, but in terms of specs, that S1 is holding up to the A7 IV, which is a new camera from Sony still.
Well, it's the autofocus, it's the lenses, like you say, to be on matching lens mounts, which helps. And then the ease of using it as your C cam, chuck it in S-Cinetone, and then it matches your other cameras perfectly, or even S-Log3. So you could send footage straight out without that kind of in-between step of having to match it.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, you look at the new S5 Mark II and the Mark II X, and they've got the built-in LUT or the built-in grading, where you can load your own LUTs into it and shoot them baked in. So in effect, you could create a Vlog to S-Cinetone LUT, chuck it in there, and you've basically got S-Cinetone.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Panasonic have been quite ahead with their features, I think, for quite a while. So, like, comparing the S1 and the A7S3 now is... I mean, what does the S1 have that the A7S3 doesn't have? There's quite a bit in there, I would say.
The thing that I miss the most when I stopped using the S1 as my main camera because my A7 arrived before my FX6.
Yeah.
So then I went straight to using the A7 for weddings. I miss waveform.
Yeah, waveform's a big thing.
I mean, histogram, obviously it has histogram, but there's
Histogram's shit compared though, isn't it?
Histogram's shit. That's more for photographers. But also, it's only on a certain
You got click
page
through
preview.
display. Yeah.
So you can't choose what you have on the screen.
Yeah, it's crap implementation of it.
Yeah. So that's, that was a bit of like all right, I can deal with it. It wasn't enough for me to be like, right, I'll stick my Ninja 5 on top, so then I've got waveform.
Yeah.
So it didn't need to get to that extent. Shutter angle was another thing. To me, considering that everyone is aware that the S version of the A7 cameras are predominantly for videographers and filmmakers, why have they not got shutter angle?
It's mad, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially the price you pay for it. It's not a cheap camera.
No.
Like, why the hell has it not got shutter angle?
Yeah.
And that's a firmware update, surely.
Yeah.
How could it
100%.
not be?
Has it got angle in the FX3?
No.
Is it not?
Not when I was buying it.
Right.
And I don't think it has been updated with it. Because I would have,
It's just
that'd have tempted me over, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's such a faff having to do shutter speed. When you don't need to, there's a better alternative.
Yeah. There's been a lot of times when I've gone from, 50p to 100p or to 25p, and if I move over to 100 from 50, and then I've been shooting that at 100 shot, I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, right, I can get away with it, but I want to be at 200.
Yeah.
Stick a shutter angle on and you're all right.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
No DCI 4K. Mm-hmm. Which, it's basically the same sensor as the FX6, so you can do it. So, I don't know why. FX3 doesn't have that either. Doesn't have true 24. It's got 2398 if you go into NTSC, but doesn't have true 24. There's just loads of little things on it that I just don't think make sense. Mm-hmm. Especially for the target market and the price.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, it really is.
Yeah.
They've kind of abandoned it with firmware upgrades, haven't they?
There's not been anything recently, has there?
No, not for ages. I think the FX3 has got a couple, but even then, nothing major, I don't think. Mm-hmm.
I used the S1 a few weeks ago. I was making an Instagram reel and I was including my A7S3 in the shot. So I shot it on the S1 and I shot it in the 6K.
Yeah.
It's like, I've never really had to use it, so I've never dabbled into it. But I was like, sod it, I'm going to do a social video.
Yeah.
So I want the resolution in height as well. So 4K, no, fuck it, let's go straight up to 5.9K or 6K, whatever it was. And I was like, that was really nice to play with.
Yeah.
It was really bloody nice. And I was like, oh, I'd miss this if I got rid of it.
I shot a poem for Dean and I shot that in the 4.3, like the anamorphic mode, because you can just use that and then just not de-squeeze it. And you get 4.3, it's like 5.7 chaos, it's almost 6K.
Yeah.
And the quality is ridiculous. It's so good. That was on the S1H though.
Or Panasonic will know that the S1H, which is the A7S3 is the equivalent of the S1H in terms of an audience.
Of when it came out and price, I think it was similar, wasn't it?
And well, you've got the S1, which is like the A7, the S1R, which is like the A7R. The S1H is like the A7S series of that's for the audiences. So why, it's just frustrating that Panasonic have got it right with including the waveform. That's got true 24p, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the S1 does, but the S1H does.
S1H, true 24. But Sony don't have them features in, shutter angle.
Yeah.
It doesn't have them in, and it's...
Even the S5's got shutter angle, and that's their like cheapest full frame.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
That you can put it in shutter angle, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Come on, Sony, sort it out.
Build quality as well. Like the S1, I know it's big and it's a bit of a tank, but it's so well designed and well built. There's just more going on it compared to the A7S3. Like you've got a couple of function buttons on the S3, but here you've got like the locking dials on this side, you've got the drive mode up there, and then you've got like 2 function buttons down here, you've got the switch here. There's so much to customize on it.
Yeah.
That it makes it faster to use and more, I don't know, you can just personalise it a bit more.
I often feel that this little finger is just doing its own thing when I'm, that's why I use my cage on my A7 all the time.
Yeah, well, I normally have mine on. I've taken it off for today so we can see the size difference. But
I'm guessing if I never had that,
yeah,
then this wouldn't feel as small.
Yeah,
but
true.
In terms of what we do, I mean, there's a lot of filmmakers or videographers who prefer a setup like this. Like those who watch Daniel Schiffer, he sees, an A7, a lot of his stuff used to be on A7 III with like a 50mm, the Zeiss, is it the Zeiss planar?
Yeah, something like that,
those lenses, just that. So a lot of people would be influenced thinking that's the setup I want to have. So that's great. we've got FX6s, so we like rigging it up anyway. So these feel tiny in comparison.
But I like that. Like, one of the best things that Sony have done really is they've made this sensor available across different bodies. I think having the FX6 and the A7S III, pretty much identical image quality. There's slight differences or whatever, but 98% of the way there. And then having it in 2 different body sizes, not compromising too much on the features. I know you can't get DCI, you can't get True 24 and whatnot, but quality-wise, you can shoot them interchangeably, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. That's something Panasonic don't have at the moment, really. They've got the BS1H, which is kind of like the box camera, the S1H, but it's not the same. You know, it's not got ND filters or XLR without, I suppose, the module.
Yeah.
That's a great thing that Sony have done, is that they're catering across body sizes, basically.
So after all that, our initial conversation was, should Sony be worried about Panasonic? Do you think they should? Within the next 12 months, do you feel like Panasonic are going to bring something out? Because it feels like an upgrade to the S1 is due at any point. That's 3.5 years old, I want to say.
There'll be one out this year, I imagine. The next
will that be the camera? And will that be the camera that makes A7S III users, Canon R5 users go?
I think it could be, because, to be fair, I prefer Panasonic cameras. That's why I want to get the next MFT with the one they bring out.
If Panasonic brought out, and hear me out, an EVA2 this year, L mount, 4K 120, phase detect autofocus,
basically a Panasonic FX6.
Yeah, would you?
Nah, because it'd be too much of a financial hit, wouldn't it? It depends how much money I lost changing, but probably
is
not.
it worth that hassle? Like, because we're sat here saying the things that we're saying that's missing in the A7 won't be missing in something like an EVA2 equivalent. But is it worth the hassle of, you've just come over to Sony, but then Panasonic brings something out where people think the image quality out of a Sony camera is better than Sony? Even with these models, people are still saying Panasonic image quality. Yeah. Is it enough to move back over to Panasonic if that camera came out?
I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. That's why I've kept in MFT, so that I can kind of stay in Panasonic and get the next Panasonic MFT camera. I'd be less tempted to lose the FX6 and more tempted to move the S3 back to Panasonic.
Right.
To see what alternative they had. But I think there are people that would.
Yeah.
Because also, Panasonic need to kind of play on what they do better, which is bringing out extra features. So an EVA2, I mean, if they could, I don't even know if it's possible, but bring out a 4.3 full-frame sensor. I mean, it must be possible because other companies do it. Yeah. Like the Alexa 4.3.
But for something to rival the FX6, so with the sub 10K?
I would, yeah. I'd bring out an L mount EVA2 with a 4.3 sensor so that you can do like 6K anamorphic on it. Just play on like different features. Use the dynamic range boost that they've just implemented on the GH6.
Yeah.
Chuck that in on full frame.
Yeah.
And you're going to be going from 14 plus stops. They might be able to get 16 stops out of it.
Yeah.
15 and a half.
Would that make you move from Sony to Panasonic?
Probably
then?
not still. Because the thing is, for the stuff I'm doing at the moment, the sort of shooting I'm doing, I just don't need it. So it wouldn't make sense to be, yeah.
That raises the subject which we've alluded to before, in the fact that just because something new comes out, it doesn't mean that you have to get the newest thing. You just use and have what you need at the time.
Yeah.
Because Panasonic are bound to release something like that, let's be honest. We don't know when.
Well, I don't know, they might be out of the video camera game. They might just be sticking with mirrorless.
Maybe.
The EVA one, when was that? 2015?
Bloody hell, was it?
I'm sure it was.
I wasn't sure when moving to Sony whether I'd love it, because I'd been, GH5 owner, S1. There's a GX80 in my cupboard gathering dust. You know, like, I didn't know if I'd enjoy moving to Sony, and I love it. But just because I know I enjoy Panasonic as well, it doesn't mean that I'm going to quickly hop over the fence to go back if something better comes out. What I have in the A7 and the FX6 is more than enough. It's doing well for me. I'm working on things that I want to work on. It's making my job a heck of a lot easier using them 2 cameras. So I don't think at this point, there's not going to be enough to warrant me moving back.
We said at the start, episode 10, so it's a good kind of benchmark to how it's going, and is it as successful as we thought it was going to be? And we've been having a little bit of a think, haven't we? I mean, I think a podcast is weekly.
Yeah.
Or
We're not holding
at
up to
least
that, are we?
bi-weekly. Like, we're doing really bad with that side of it.
Sorry, everyone.
I don't want to say it's because you were on holiday last week, but that's a factor.
Rob me from my freedom.
Like, you've got to sacrifice a bit if you're going to do something like this. Like,
I was pasty.
I was trying to get my hair cut today, and I couldn't. It was too busy, and I'm here anyway. What I'm trying to say is, it's just not really a podcast.
So is this the end?
Well,
Is that...
I don't know. What do you think? Episode 10, and like, it's taken us, 6 months to get here? That's a pretty slow...
Yeah. I think I love doing the podcast,
Yeah.
and I think it's helping people.
Hopefully.
I'm saying this in 2 years' time when we've built the momentum up. But
Yeah.
I think we enjoy talking about kit anyway, so we
Yeah.
may as well get the cameras up and
Exactly,
mics.
yeah.
I do feel though that what we do for a living is visual.
Yeah.
It's a visual thing, and we've had ideas of deconstructing scenes of our favourite films and going through how they've been lit, how they've been shot, why they've been done a certain way.
Yeah.
And we realised it was like, we can't really do that for the audio listeners of the podcast. So maybe we might start branching out a bit.
Do some other things.
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, I think the podcast will always happen. We just can't guarantee that it will be weekly or bi-weekly, can we? Because
Well, I mean, we don't.
it takes 3 hours to set this.
We don't want to lay out what we actually are going to do.
No. But I feel like there's more opportunity to do more visual things. So whether that's on our social channels or the YouTube channel that's not just podcast episodes.
Yeah. I don't
The
know what I'm saying.
podcast is a part of its Take Two,
Yeah.
but not the entire.
Not the entirety. That is exactly what I'm saying. That's very nicely
That's
put.
it. Yeah, thank you. It would be fun for us because we like getting our cameras out and filming something. We prat about coming up with ideas for sketches and little skits, and we think, well, why aren't we utilising that as part of It's Take Two? Are we? So
Yeah. I think to be a proper podcast, we need to get it out weekly.
yeah,
But because we're doing the visual side of it as well, it takes so much time.
it's a lot.
It takes
of effort,
ages
innit?
to set it up. It is a lot of faff.
This isn't a showroom at Next Home, is it? This is my living room.
No, because we're still not sponsored.
Yeah.
This is just
Nice tables, though.
Jord's living room. Yeah, it's scratched under
Yeah,
this. But it's
This
fine.
is the Sony A7S3.
See how that audio was for Callum the twat. So I've had a bit of a change of tune, actually, Jord.
From what?
Well, we had a little break, and I was listening back to some of the old episodes, and I
Yeah.
think Callum's got a point. The jingle is a bit loud.
jingle, okay.
Yeah. Just on behalf of the podcast, because we were
I
quite
mean,
mean to him earlier. So if you want to, if you just want to do a quick apology into camera, then
me apologise to Callum.
yeah,
for
on
you.
behalf of well, not for me, but for the podcast, because we were quite harsh earlier on. If you do a quick apology, I'll give him a quick shout out now, like a proper shout out,
Okay.
because we were very sarcastic earlier
Okay.
on, and then he'll be on board again. Then we're back to two listeners,
Then he'll stop capitalising everything. Okay. Callum,
probably to camera, so
Alright,
you can watch it.
Callum, we're sorry for being
Just mean, sarcastic,
sarcastic,
loud, probably
Sorry.
arrogant.
Me.
One of us.
Yeah, we mean it.
Sorry, Cal.
So who's the who's going to be the shout out this week?
Do him a proper shout out.
Okay, yeah, let's
because
pretend we've
He is integral, and we'll talk about a bit about what he does on the crew and why we do love him so much.
Yeah.
What he brings to the atmosphere of the crew.
Yeah.
In positive ways.
Actually,
We won't
I've just
mention
thought.
we'll do the shout out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my birthday in a few weeks, and maybe we can get Shez on
That's a good idea.
to get me a birthday cake, and she can be the sponsor of next week's episode.
Yeah, that's a good idea. When is your birthday?
25th of March.
That's pretty soon.
Yeah. Can you ring her? And
Yeah,
say,
I'll see. I mean, I'll see next time we're going up. We could get a cake done and get a sponsor.
Sweet.
That'd be great.
Yeah. What were we on about again then? Before Shez? Shez's Cakes and Bakes. For the best
Cheryl.
bakes and cakes in Yorkshire.
Cheryl, we're talking about Cheryl.
Yeah, what was before that?
Just cameras, I think.
gone.
We'll just wrap it up. I
Okay,
think.
yeah.
So if anyone else has got any nasty little comments they want to send our way, similar to Callum, about the audio or the visuals.
Yeah,
To be fair, someone will probably comment that you didn't have a backlight on for half of it.
true. Yeah.
We're putting it out there now, so you can't say anything now. We've done it. We've pointed out the bad thing.
Yeah.
So no point messaging.
We're not doing well lately. Last episode, I had to change my
know.
jumper because I got curry on it. Light went on this one.
It's all on
That
your side,
camera
really,
lost
isn't it?
power.
Yeah, your camera.
My camera,
Your
yeah.
camera, your jumper, your light. Seeing a trend here. So if they want to get in touch with us,
Yeah.
how do they do it?
We appreciate any feedback.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have set up a dedicated
Complaints
account.
line.
Yeah, complaint department. So if you have got any complaints, send it to Callum at itstaketwopodcast.com, which is 100% genuine email address.
We will be monitoring.
we'll-
Well, Callum will be monitoring.
Callum will be
that.
monitoring it because he's, promoted himself to be a
And if you've got any positive feedback, how do they get in touch?
Then they can use the real addresses. That is
Not real addresses. They're all
the
real
other
addresses. The other addresses.
The other address. That is itstaketwopodcast@gmail.com.
That's the one.
Or Instagram at itstaketwopodcast.
TikTok.
Itstaketwopodcast. Yeah,
Very
that's
unified.
true. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to either the podcast or any of your preferred podcast listening platforms. But yeah, if you're ever in a hurry, if you're ever on a plane to Lanzarote and you can't watch the YouTube video, you can always download the podcast on any
You
of
can
those.
read a made script. Boring, innit?
Yeah.
Won't want to do that on your holiday. Even if you promised. I think that's it, because the lights...
The lights, yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Even the light's given up.
Yeah.
A lot's gone wrong this week.
It's
so-
not gone well, has it?
No.
Thanks for listening, as always. And I don't want to say we'll see you next week because it's not going to be next week. We will see you when we can be bothered to edit the next one.
Yeah, and shoot it as well.
And shoot it.
And sort of plan a day, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully you've found it insightful, enjoyable. Thanks as always if you've listened from the start. We appreciate you coming back and listening to us talk for a long time.
Yeah.
If you're new to it, hi, welcome to the channel, welcome to the podcast. As we said earlier,
Let's wrap it up. Come on,
yeah.
let's go.
We've got lots of exciting things coming up, haven't we? Not just
Yeah.
the podcast, but
We'll plug them into mains next time.
Yeah,
Selling
that's
batteries. Why are we doing batteries inside? There's a little tip for you. If you've
anyone-
got access to PowerPoint, plug them in.
for anyone who's listening to this, the lights keep going out. We're going to have to wrap up, aren't we? So
Got one left. If this one goes, we're
it's like
fucked.
most haunted. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, nice one. Cheers. See you in a bit. Oh, shit, we forgot to shout out Cam.